true engage is still going to be Kanavi on the Wukong.
And this is why I think the Mordekaiser pick is so valuable, because we've seen before, I forget which game it was, the Wukong engages, Mord ults the Wukong, and now that engage disappears. And so top esports, they're going to have to be very careful with how they approach these fights, because I don't think they're going to have as easy a backline threat, given that they are so reliant on Kanavi to be that engaged.
I mean, it's a similar story for the Akali, right? Akali jumps in, Mord ults her, you're not killing the Mordekaiser in the death realm, so I think you've got multiple strong targets here for Doran. Nice pick on the Mordekaiser. We'll have to see now how much value you can get, or are you going to be able to just play through this pushing bot lane into early dragons, into objective control, and try and set up for a strong top esports early game.
Top Esports coming out with the Orianna being given over on first pick. I feel like if you lose this first game, there's going to be a lot of criticism towards that choice, not only with the popularity of the champion so far at the tournament, but with Faker's legacy on it here too. But we'll see if Top's plan works out as we're on to the Rift here for game number 1 in this semi-final best of 5 to see who gets to punch their ticket to Chengdu. Runes up on your screen right now. Immediately I'm noticing it's Summoner Spellbook for Karia's Rakan. However, the Comet over on the side of Top Esports for Hong shows me they really, really want to play for that lane control.
Absolutely. Top Esports is very much playing for that bot lane control that Dagda was talking about in draft, wanting to leverage their push to maybe get early rotations to set up for the grubs, or maybe even set their sights on that early dragon in the early game. But before we even dive even deeper into that, I want to look back a little bit at last year, because these two teams are no strangers to one another, and we've got a little bit more time to talk about it, because last year it was a one-sided affair. T1 made fun of Top Esports in convincing fashion with a 3-0 performance, snuffing their hopes out and eliminating them before Top Esports could find any momentum in the playoffs.
Yeah, and even when you looked at that game 1, it kind of looked like Top Esports had gotten off to a decent start, but T1 just came alive and were able to dominate the rest of the series throughout. Now, obviously, slightly different roster set up in there. You had Mako and you still had TN that were on the team, and now it has been shifting over towards the Top Esports that aren't really playing towards that same style. They are much more patient. They are more about control. They are more about trying to set up around objectives, and I think it has given a new identity to this squad, but you are still going up against a T1 that it seems like at Worlds just come alive every single time.
And I want to go back to something that you were talking about during the draft, when we saw the Rakan drafted there for Keria, the importance that is being placed on his shoulders as the main engage here for T1 in this Game 1 draft. I feel like in the Swiss stage, we didn't see the best League of Legends from Keria that we've seen many times before. It didn't seem like he was executing on the same level that we had seen in the past. But then in the series against Anyone's Legend, just a couple of days ago in the quarterfinals, that series that, like you mentioned, Vedius, went the full distance, best of 5. It was Keria who had a ton of clutch plays.
Absolutely. And it's nice to see him really return to the form that so many fans have in terms of their expectations for him as a player. And it's always difficult as a T1 player because of the sheer amount of pressure that sits on your shoulders. But it feels like that whenever they return to this environment, to this stage, it's almost like their comfort zone because all of the players come alive.
Yeah, I actually was watching an old owner interview earlier today that actually he talked about how it felt like it doesn't feel like a different stage when they go to Worlds. They've been here so regularly and have played under these pressure situations so effectively that it kind of just is water off a duck's back for them at this stage. And that's why I think you're starting to see when they get into quarterfinals, the like creativity coming back for players like Keria, Faker popping off in some of these plays. Again, it feels like they've kind of just settled back into what could be another LCK day for them.
And as we jump back onto the Rift, there's a cool little tidbit for us on the caster desk, because Clayton, so many years ago, you had the iconic call of Faker's Shockwave finding them all, and now we have Orianna and Rakan in the hands of T1, potentially giving you another opportunity.
Look, if I have the time, I'll make sure I credit Rakan as well, right next to the Orianna. But if they engage in a split second, I might have to pick and choose yet again. We'll see if T1 can find that team fight magic here in the semifinals in 2025. On our screens right now, this bottom lane, we've already talked about it, but again, I feel like control priority of this lane for top esports is so huge.
And I think that's why you're seeing Kanavi starting this top side of the map, right? He knows that he's going to be able to shift his way down towards this bottom side with the push on bot lane, should be able to get crab for himself. And one of the things that is kind of the shaping a lot of the full clears that we're seeing from the junglers is the fact that if you double full clear, you basically set up your camp, so then you spawn that dragon in 5 minutes after you finished all your camps, and you can waddle in for an extra little bit of experience there. So I think that's where top esports are going to be trying to put that focus again, and already you can see Gumayushi taking a lot of hurt from top esports on the bottom side.
Bot lane 2 versus 2 working very much as the way top esports had intended. We know though that in terms of mid and top T1 should have priority in those lanes. Both junglers pathing towards that bot side of the map. Keeping my eyes on Kanavi as he is actually moving into the river. Is he looking for an early gank towards the middle lane? No, it looks like his eyes are set on stealing away those Raptors, but now he will be a camp behind. Oner securing that advantage. Kanavi wants to play through the pressure of his bot lane, though, to steal away camps in the enemy jungle.
Exactly. He wants to utilize this advantage in the 2v2 to really make Oner sweat a little bit here on that first clear. It's not just the double first clear approach, as Kanavi, Jackie, and Hong are moving all the way towards that red buff. They want to try to steal it away, but the steal does not work. It's Oner with the secure over the wall.
Crazy smite from Oner, and the ward never got cleared. I was actually keeping my eyes on Faker for a lot of that because I thought maybe he would even try and roam over, but Oner just does it himself.
Beautiful steal comes through from Oner as he's able to secure, well, pretty much all of his camps. He's very happy with how things have played out. He's now going to path back up towards the top side of the map to secure that Scuttle Crab. And his clear is largely unaffected. And now the consequences of this for Kanavi is that he is very far behind on the clear. A nice recall is going to come through soon from Oner. He's going to get a nice first base off as the bot lane forced to use the heal as the bot laners continue to battle it out.
Exactly. T1 just going to defensively activate that summoner spell to back away as top esports wanted to continue going aggressive with it. Now a nice grand entrance from Keria to keep the pressure on Jackie Love. Hong steps forward. More damage into Keria here as both sides take a little bit of a beating, but it's Hong, the lowest HP overall. Very fortunate to sidestep that piercing arrow with 3 blight stacks. That one would have taken him down to probably below 100 HP.
Yeah, it just feels like the first round in this bottom lane though. Both AD carries running that teleport, so should be able to reset and TP back in. Guma going to look to stop Jackie Love there. Having that level up as well means he can put a little bit more pressure down, but still, TP's back in. They should all go back to even Steven in this bottom lane.
So, Kanavi did skip his wolves in order to get back and start re-clearing those respawn camps. He's now going to be a little bit behind as Doran getting a little low.
Yeah, Doran in some danger here. Pops the shield. 3-6-9, keeping the pressure on this Mordekaiser. Wanted to go back in for some footwork with a third in Tofo strike, but the knockback not colliding with Doran means he's safe for now.
The early base from 369, securing that double null magic mantle, giving him the additional magic resistance to win out on these trades. Doran should be perfectly fine in this situation. He just has to be cautious at the threat of a dive, but Mordekaiser, not the easiest champ in the world to dive. No level 6 yet for 369.
Kanavi was spotted though on the ward, and everyone's moving back up towards this top side.
All right, they're moving around trying to see if maybe they can set it up, but they have to know if 369 was close to level 6, so was Doran, and trying to dive Mordekaiser underneath the turret with the ulti is never going to work.
Now, T1 are punishing the early pathing from Kanavi. Remember that because he had to skip his bot side camps to try and steal, he's now late to these Raptors. Keria is here with Oner, and Kanavi has no idea.
Yeah, Keria jumps forward, however, the grand entrance does not hit Kanavi. Oner still continuing to try to contest here for this Raptor camp. Does secure the large Raptor, but now over the wall. It's Cream ready to go in. He wants the kill, and Oner's the focus. Cream goes forward, but he cannot find enough damage just yet. It's Kanavi grabbing first blood here for top esports.
Massive plays from top esports. The double flash over Faker's shockwave means they find none of them, and it's top esports that are able to get a kill on the back end.
And this is so important for Kanavi because the jungle advantage was very quickly getting out of control. Oner was contesting these camps. He was leveraging the tempo advantage that he had, but finding that kill put a stop to that. The Raptors are stolen away, and Kanavi can now pick up the Scuttle Crab as well. Nice advantage gained for top esports.
Yeah, and as you were saying, Betty, like, they spotted Kanavi on that top ward, and then, so this would have been the play from T1, but the double flash over Faker means that Oner is completely caught out. Cream having that level 6, able to follow him over the wall, and it's T1 that, in theory, played smarter on the map, but it's ATS who are outplaying them in the moment.
Exactly. Kanavi on his initial invade trying to steal away the red. He doesn't get the payoff that he wants. And like you pointed out, Vedius, then it feels like he's behind in the pace of the game. But then the invade from T1 to try to punish that lack of pace ultimately ends up being the greater error, as it's Top Esports first on the board here with that first kill. And Kanavi has the gold lead in the jungle since he was the one who got the kill credit for it.
Now track these lane assignments. Already Top Esports looking to move their pieces around the board. Cream has been sent to the bot side of the map with that Hextech alternator. It looks like he's going to be matching up against Doran. Not a very favorable matchup for the Akali, but this early on she does still have some great trading potential. The main goal though for Top Esports is to move their Sivir into the mid lane. Help you guarantee that lane prio to make it easier to contest the grubs that are spawning in 20 seconds. But with the swap up to top, T1 will still have access to this objective.
I did think the Top Esports would try and play more for Dragons though. I feel like their team fight is better set up around, hey, let's try and stack some of these early objectives and then being able to draw T1 in towards these fights and maybe look for some of these cross maps. But with the early lead that they managed to pick up on towards Cream and Kanavi, and that level 6 just being hit for Kanavi, maybe they feel like they can actually fight as Cream starts to move.
Yeah, Cream going to make that early rotation up towards these Void Grubs. And because Doran's teleport timer is pretty desynced from 369, there's still half the cooldown remaining on that teleport. The Mordekaiser is steadfastly down there in the bottom lane, and Top Esports have already taken the first grub.
But now, Top Esports, they can have 369 TP to bottom lane if they want. He's going to go back to base. They did sacrifice a wave, and Doran will secure a plate. But ultimately now, JackeyLove and Hung can go and match up against the bot lane 2 versus 2. Akali can return to mid, and just a beautiful sequence of play there from Top Esports to allow them to secure an uncontested grubs.
This is where exactly you kind of want to be as Top Esports. Again, although the early game went a little awry, being able to now find these moments to get Void Grubs when, in theory, Cream should have more impact on a side lane is going to be really, really nice. You can continue to keep up pressure through 369 as well in the Mordekaiser matchup. And JackeyLove is just going to wave clear. So I think now on T1 side, my eyes are going to be on Owner to see how he can get involved in some of these lanes to start to get some advantages for their side laners to neutralize the potential 1-3-1 from Top Esports.
I'd love to see Top Esports invest a little bit of time towards that mid lane as well. Faker going for the Rod of Ages build means that he's looking to stack those defensive items to help survive the Akali burst. As Owner sets his sights on the bot side of the map, I'd be surprised if they really try to force anything. It looks like, yeah, he's more interested in the enemy jungle camps. He wants to take things away from Kanavi. He should be able to secure this Grom and walk away scot-free.
We mentioned earlier how Mordekaiser is a difficult champion to dive there in the top lane. Kazante is in the same caliber. You've got to have the guarantee that you're going to get the kill because of how easy it is to turn around. So they'll happily just take away the Gromp, get a little bit of extra money. It's another reset to pick up the Caulfield's Warhammer there for Owner. As you can see, he is still slightly ahead in terms of pace, at least with the jungle treats there, just 1 or 2 stacks ahead of Kanavi on the Wukong, who still does maintain about the same gold lead that he did after we saw him secure the first blood earlier.
So just a fun fact about this mid lane matchup, Faker maxing the Q over the W. Sometimes we see that shift between Orianas, but given how low he is on mana, having that extra Q damage really helps facilitate him put that poke down onto the Akali in those shorter trades. He is very low on mana though. This could be a window for Top Esports to try and force that dragon, but with the resets coming out from Kanavi, I don't expect that to actually come through. Components very close to completing that first item, and as I say that, JackeyLove will complete the Essence Reaver, TP back into mid, and now Top Esports will have control over the midway.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to have the Wukong finish off his Triforce here, but still a little bit away. And that it looks like what Top Esports are trying to play for is that big spike that you can get off of some of these first item completions. And for T1, it's a case, okay, we're still waiting on that Rod of Ages for Faker. We still don't have that first item for Gumayushi. But Top Esports still in the area, just trying to clear out vision and use these pushing waves to establish themselves further in River so they can set up for that play in a couple of minutes.
Okay, 369 on the Kazante does have the Spectre's Cowl alongside the Negatron Cloak, so plenty of magic resistance building towards that first big item still, considering both enemy solo laners are AP champions. That always feels very good when you go for an early Kaenic Rookern to be able to endure so much of that hurt, be able to have much better, shorter trades. As Top Esports continue just aggroing the dragon, you saw them initially do that just to have it hit Keria a little bit, but now that even he's not here, they're continuing to try to look for the chance to take this. It's really not an early first Drake though, Vedius, which is, again, kind of what we were looking at when we see the Sivir Karma.
The reset just came through for Faker though, and he doesn't finish the Rod of Ages. He actually ends up buying a tier instead of trying to finish it off. So I think for T1, they're not really interested in going for this Dragon right now. They're more than happy to let it scale. And I think with that Crab take, Kanavi should have just ticked over towards his Triforce. So unless T1 can find a pick before this Dragon happens, it looks like top Esports should be able to come back into the map and try and force the play there.
I don't know when the latest first Dragon of Worlds was, but we're definitely heading towards that number. Top Esports in a bit of an odd position here as they kind of fight with Faker for that mid control. Varus has to be careful, but he's pretty safe to push out that bot wave. Now it is T1's turn to take control over the bot side river. Fantastic vision control means they will be the team to start this objective off, and Top Esports don't really have much room to fight this as of right now.
Yeah, you can see piercing arrow, plenty of damage from that Varus here onto the neutral objective. It is secured by Ownerman T1 as Hong wants to step forward. Carry with a battle dance to disengage from the tether means that top can't get any sort of a punish, and T1 just kind of walk away with a Drake for free.
A nice timing window there by T1. So they knew that Kanavi had reset for the for his Triforce, but Kanavi stopping off for his Wolves on the way forward meant that they actually had a little bit more time to try and push through. So they move in towards mid, force JackeyLove to give up priority on that mid wave. They already had JackeyLove pushing in bot wave, so able to use that small window where top esports weren't on the map to their advantage.
Very much feels like that we're heading in the direction of a slower teamfight orientated game. And I think that based on how both teams kind of find that success, when I especially look back at that AL series, a lot of the conversation was about how AL need to pick up the pace of the game, because if you just let T1 run the map, that's where they seem to feel like the most comfortable. But Top Esports, they are the slower, more controlled LPL style of team. They like to play the map, and that's just kind of a given when you've got Kanavi as a jungler. That very methodical type of approach to the game, very much playing towards his strengths, and he's scaling up nicely on the Wukong now with the Trinity Force completed. He's looking to hover around top. He's cautious of that Rakan roam, and he will secure the Krugs as well. So overall, right now, 14 minutes in, nothing too major. Nobody with a... Oh, hang on.
Yep, as soon as you say it, Vedius, it's Cream going in after Faker. Perfect execution coming through. Faker low. Cream bursts him down to 20%, but he cannot threaten a lethal situation. Still 45 seconds left until the Rift Herald spawns. Means Faker is going to have time to go back to the fountain, heal up, make a purchase, and then return to the topside river if T1 wants to fight.
The top esports really wanted to try and force the play, but with carrying that top side, the exhaust went down onto Kanavi to prevent him from going in, and also then having the charm to prevent anyone from following up meant that top esports knew it had kind of fallen apart, and they all back away.
You also see the value of Rod of Ages into this matchup as well. That extra HP really making the difference, but Cream simply giving us a taster of what Faker can expect in the side lane, and why it's very important for Carrier to be in the area when that Orianna is playing into the Akali specifically. Hung working with JackeyLove as the heal. Oh, that's a chunk of damage.
Yeah, there you go. There's the summoner spell forced out. Gumayushi using the chains of corruption, making Hong flash away or face certain doom.
And right as Rift Herald spawns as well, so Owner immediately books it over towards the objective to start that one up. And look at the map. Top Esports not in a position to contest here again.
I feel like this is a pretty rare situation where we've seen all three of the first neutral objectives in the game go utterly uncontested. The Void Grubs earned by Top Esports because of their smart macro play, then T1 getting the Drake for free off the recall from Kanavi, and now Gumayushi's Chain of Corruption forcing Hong back and forcing that flash to be spent means that T1 gets Rift Herald for free. We're just seeing all of these objectives be handed over.
I think T1, just with really good lane assignments, they know that Faker, as long as Cream doesn't have his ultimate, can easily gain control over that wave. Also, the fact that they got that nice trade and Hung, as Dagda was saying, that is the go signal. That is your window of opportunity to force the objective. So just great overall awareness from T1 as they gain a small lead for themselves. And
it's also really difficult for Top Esports to try and punch back. You try and go, hey, we're going to dive bot lane, and you're like, hey, that's a Mordekaiser. That's just not going to end well. Yeah. And you want to try and trade on that top side, but Faker's already pushed in, and you already have Owner on that side of the map. So Top Esports kind of just clear out the waves and do nothing. They are looking for top here. Faker still has flash.
Yeah, Faker gonna drop that shockwave to try to defend himself here as Cream again trying to play as aggressively as possible on this Akali. Last time he had the ulti, he spent it on Faker. This time he does the same. Redemption coming in to try to keep Faker alive. Kanavi has to back away after the Redemption, heals the enemy mid laner. Carrier supporting Faker from a long way away, stops the dive.
Top Esports now starting to get a little bit more active on the map, setting their sights onto Faker, but he weathers the pressure well. T1 there to support him when he needs it. Doran now taking over the top wave as he looks to chip away at that top tower.
Exactly, and he's got his Riftmaker online finally. In that head-to-head, he went straight for the tier 2 boots with the plated steel caps at the very beginning, and it meant that he's actually been pretty far behind in terms of that first big item completion, and that's why 369 had all the control that he did in the head-to-head. Now Doran, with that first big item, feeling a lot stronger.
Yeah, the plan from Top Esports continuously has been attack the other solo laner and Faker, but they really want to get that flash out. But every time, Faker's just been happy to trade the shockwave, and now coming in towards this next dragon, Faker still has that flash, which makes him not a target for this Kanavi and Cream combo. And it's just been that patience with him on the potential flash that has netted nothing for Top Esports.
We're also seeing the rotation begin from Doran. He's navigating his way around the vision that Top Esports have set up on the top side of the map, which means that should he find a flank, it means that Top Esports won't be aware of his position as they get closer to the dragon spawning, which, for the record, should be happening in mere moments. T1 with great position around that neutral objective again, and considering how slow they want to play this game, T1 have been very happy with how things have been panning out.
Yep, I have been informed that this is a TES pause, but I do not know exactly any more of the details as to why the pause had to happen. Hopefully, it's nothing extreme and we can get back into the game as soon as possible, because we haven't really had a big fight yet in this game. I feel like most games of League of Legends, at the latest, the Rift Herald is where you're really going to get to see a larger investment towards a team fight from both sides. But again, with this time around, with the way that Gumayusi forced the flash out from Hong, that just didn't happen. And considering this is still only Drake #2, I don't even know if we're going to get it here.
I don't think Top Esports are in a position to really fight for this, though. You've just used Kanavi's ultimate on that top side of the map. That's still on cooldown. The Orianna ultimate is about to come back up, and Cream does have his available, but lacking that key engage tool for Kanavi really makes this fight difficult, and I think T1 are aware of it. They've already established themselves in that bot side river, and for Top Esports, you have to find a way to try and break that bunker, but it's just so difficult with no Kanavi ult.
I like that. If this was game 5, this would be very tense. But because we're in game 1, it feels like that the tension hasn't quite set in. But we are ultimately building towards what could be the first fight and the defining fight of the entire game. If a single team can find a large enough lead in this fight that we're hoping to see soon, it could very well be the key that snowballs either comp.
I mean, I feel like we see this a lot, and I feel like we see it a lot particularly in game 1s, where teams are just testing the waters a little bit, getting a feel for what the other side's going to do, and you do get this very slow-paced type of a game that only has 1 or 2 big fights like you're talking about, but that just means the pressure is that much higher. If you're saying it's not going to be a 10-fight game, well, then you better play the one fight correctly.
I also think that both teams feel very locked in. You can see how aware they are of the movements on the map, but as we've entered this mid-game, I do think that T1's lane assignments have just been that much better. They've leveraged the strength of Orianna into Akali while also not isolating the Orianna. We've seen how Cream and Kanavi have tried not once, but twice to get that flash out that Dagda was saying earlier, and both times that effort has been thwarted simply due to the presence of Keria, with Doran TPing up towards the fight. And so because of that, they've played with their pressure well, they've controlled the neutral objectives, and the moment that they did punish Top Esports, they immediately converted it into a Herald.
And it's even the play off your screen that they're playing well on as well. When you have that TP from Doran to the top side to save Faker, Owner just goes down and collects that bot wave and prevents 369 being able to take the bot tower and get any more out of the play for themselves as well. So they're constantly keeping all these moves in check, and I think that's where Top Esports are struggling to really break them open. And as we start to move forward into this, again, you've got no ultimate for the Wukong. If now does T1 just get another objective on the back of it, they start to get towards those feats. That's when it starts to become a little bit more difficult for TES again.
And Doran, to me, will be the difference maker in these fights. Because as we've discussed at length, the engage is quite not as clear-cut as we would traditionally see with something like an Ornn or a Rel or a Nautilus, because Kanavi will need to not only find a flank, but he will be the key threat on the backline that Cream will be relying on to find access on the Akali. Meanwhile, Jackulov and Hung will be working together to deal with whatever threat is coming their way, and Faker's Shockwave that's going to be ever-present in the team fight. So who does Doran remove in these fights to turn it into a 4v4 for T1? But now we're back in the action, we're back on the Dragon, and given the positioning, Top Esports, it's not easy for them to contest.
Ignore the bottom of your screens. Kanavi does not have his ultimate up and available. It is still a little bit away, which is why Top Esports there didn't really want to try and contest. So it looks like for T1 again, another Dragon. Now the feats, they're in a great spot.
And it's exactly what we were talking about back in the draft. Kanavi is the engage. Yes, you get the extra speed, you get the extra lane control when you draft this Karma for the support position, but it means that if Kanavi doesn't have the ultimate, the way into the fight is so much more difficult. But it looks like Top Esports are going to go for some push onto the bot lane tier 1.
Okay, so Top Esports with a little bit of pressure for themselves. But again, we talked about it earlier. See how T1 is doing a great job of protecting Faker. They refuse to leave this Orianna isolated because that is the key target that Top Esports is trying to find momentum off of.
But it's the only target you can really go for, right? Guma just sits in mid waves, shoots down the wave in one go, and is like, all right, well, you're not getting anywhere close to me. Doran is just able to get rid of all of the Avengers apart from one. So for Top Esports, it's really difficult to find plays anywhere on the map. And it's this slow burn now of T1 just starting to collect dragons, keeping the peace, and they're slowly getting to whittle away at some of these turrets as well. So for Top Esports, it needs to be better map play. Getting to the objective first, forcing T1 to actually try and brute force their way in with a lack of vision that opens up these flank opportunities for Kanavi and for Cream.
And Top Esports' map play did earn them those first 3 grubs of the game that we saw back at the start of things, but the 3 neutral objectives since then have gone the way of T1. They have the feat of monster slaying. We're still only 1 kill in 19.5 minutes into the game, so that feat not claimed by either side, but you do see some damage onto the turrets in the side lanes for both squads, so that means also, after we have one of these big fights, it's probably first turret right after.
The funny thing to me is that we're only at 16 petals for the whole game. 14, my mistake. 8 plus, well, now 7 as the Otacon 10 seconds away.
All right, Otacon topside in this one. There's also still the Rift Herald in the inventory of Owner. That could also be used to force down one of these tier 1 turrets if that's the play they want to make. You can see T1, they're not going to start up the Otacon immediately, but they do still have Keria up in this area just to make sure that they're maintaining vision control. He's going to go ahead and take his recall. Again, Faker swaps back into the matchup with Cream. Doran versus 369 just continues being what this top lane battle always is.
If the Otacon is started up, you need to be a little careful. There's a nice ward, actually. Okay, that's a very big circle. In behind the blue buff of T1. And that is something that 369 can look to try and create a flank opportunity for himself. But TP now towards the mid lane, trying to keep this mid tower safe.
Exactly. They summoned up the Herald. The Herald should guarantee that you're going to be able to at least get the first turret. But it looks like summoned up in mid lane, it cannot guarantee that much damage, but they don't just want to give that away for free to Kanavi being able to jump in there onto that tier 1 with the Wukong, with the Trinity Force. So Herald charges, takes off about 2/3 of that turret HP. 2 minutes on our next Drake. Otacon is alive. Turrets, low health, legitimately everywhere. And that bottom lane head-to-head, you saw 369 again winning out in that as he has Jack Show now fully completed. Still only 1 major item for Doran.
Jackie Love, based on what I can tell, is about 200 to 150 gold off that Infinity Edge that he is working towards. A nice item spike as Cream goes in.
Here we go once more. Faker trying to protect himself from Cream. As the perfect execution, once again, just not enough damage to really pose the threat, and Faker doesn't even have to spend Shockwave on that one.
But now TP could be used by Faker to try and get back in. Actually, Shockwave now used.
There it is, right on top of Keria, who comes in to reinforce the T1 mid laner. The quickness comes out, and the flash forced from Cream.
You still got protection here, though, in the top side. Kanavi having to clone over the wall to make sure that he can try and escape, but T1 putting pressure on this top side, and you've got that TP from Faker to come back out onto this top side with Kanavi on low HP and Akali with no ult. Maybe that's an Otacon area that T1 are looking at.
T1 are controlling this Akali so well. They are giving such few opportunities, and Cream, I think his goal there was simply a chunk. Get a nice trade, make it easier for him to gain control, threaten that top side, but who's there first? It's Carrier, it's Owner. The supporting staff of T1 are there to protect their GOAT of the mid lane, and they make sure that they put Cream back in his place. Nice advantage being built for Faker. Top Esports trying to get some vision around Arakan, but T1 is making it very difficult.
It's Doran versus Cream in the bottom lane right now, but the important thing to make note of is that Doran has his teleport available, and Cream still does not have his. The perfect execution is back off of cooldown, but Cream's flash obviously still a long way away here as well. Carrier loses half HP to a quick burst from Kanavi, but now Owner's ready to lead the charge here with the Crescent Guard. Kanavi, Jackie Love, and Hong all backing away from this one as T1 gets the better side of the trade.
So Top Esports tried to punish the positioning of Carrier, but it's they who is punished on the other side, and now T1 want to secure the first tower of the game.
They're going to try to put enough damage into this, but again, they don't have any Void Grubs whatsoever, so they can't just force it down with a couple of autos.
They forced Top Esports out of River, though, and Dragon is available, and that was really what they wanted. So now Top Esports going to have to try and break into this, but it looks like it's gone.
Yeah, T1 just going to go ahead and secure themselves Soul Point on a Cloud Soul Rift. Another uncontested neutral objective.
I mean, immaculate control coming through from T1. Top Esports on the other side might be able to secure first tower for themselves, as 369 will be left alone to hit away on this tower. So hey, a feat of warfare contributed. Now the question is, gentlemen, will in this game we reach 3 kills? Because so far, 24 minutes in, we're at, I don't even know what the division is, but I'm telling you the kills per minute is awfully low.
It's not looking particularly hot.
Not great.
Yeah. Whoever got the pickups for Kanavi First Blood, though, at least somewhat happy with things. Maybe not with how this game state is going. As T1, once again, it's just been these little pockets that they're playing off of. Carrier getting nearly caught out there in that top side, but they turn around damage from Owner, setting up them for the push. And this is kind of why some of these picks are so strong from the comfort. Like Owner loves playing the Xin Zhao because he knows how hyper aggressive he can go. Burning that ultimate just to force Top Esports back. Gumayushi on this Varus has been such a staple for T1, and now en masse they group mid, and 369's overextended.
Yeah, 369 trying to jump in there as the turret falls. Owner, audacious charge right in after him, finds a little bit of damage. Jackie Love also at about 60% HP here. So T1, they get what they came for, and they don't want to stick around for anything more.
And all the while, I want to turn your attention to that man in the middle lane, Faker. The Rod of Ages fully stacked. His Seraphs has been completed, and this man is about to tick over to level 16 on the Orianna as well. The highest level in the game. He is in a prime position to be the carry for T1 here in Game 1. Unless Top Esports nope, they're not going to do anything about it right now.
Yeah, and it feels like this game is a bit of a metaphor for how the Top Esports and the LPL has played against them. They keep trying to take them down, but unable to do so. And now Top Esports forcing this Arakan. The TP has come out. They're going to start to slowly back away.
Yeah, they get the summoner spell, but that's all they're going to take for now. Kanavi's the only one continuing to tank the Otacon because they do not want the debuff on everybody else on Top Esports. Doran making his way up through the river. 369 with a third in, Tofo strike primed. Top Esports looking for something here. It's Doran jumped on immediately. However, he's into the death realm. He's going after Kanavi. He wants to take out the enemy jungler. Top Esports, they're trying to get him away. But as soon as the death realm ends, Carrier's quickness begins. And Top Esports have already lost their jungler. They're about to lose their top laner. 369 wants to go all out, but Gumayushi and T1 are all in. Hong trying to escape as Cream's got some fancy acrobatics, but he's not getting anything. T1 out team fight him, and they'll take the Otacon.
Kanavi is given no position, no purchase, as Doran isolates him in the death realm. And after taking out the jungler, taking out 369, T1 will turn their attention towards the Baron.
Bettius, you talked about the value of one fight, and this is the fight they won.
And it's because Doran just rips Kanavi out of existence that makes it so easy. That Engage is gone. Jackie Love and Hong can't actually get into the fight because they're zoned by Gumayushi and Faker, and now Faker has caught Cream.
Faker going in after this Akali that's been trying to put the pressure on him all game long. And once more, it's Cream, the one who loses his flash just to survive.
T1 played with great patience, they leveraged their range, and again, this pick from Mordekaiser doing very much as we expected. The question was, would he remove Kanavi or Cream? But that decision was made so simple for him the moment he saw that Wukong try to engage. And Flowers, you highlighted in the fight, to add insult to injury, the second Kanavi comes out of the fight, there's the quickness, charming him up, isolating him to allow for Faker to secure the kill.
You just sit on top of the little Christmas light and press R as soon as it returns to a champion. Well played there from T1, now over 2,000 gold ahead. And my friends, we have 45 seconds left until the Cloud Soul spawns. Hong in some danger here, has to flash away. Carrier ready to go after him again with the quickness, Feet of Warfare. Finally claimed at 27 minutes by T1, and they are just barreling down the bottom lane. Gumayushi gonna get healed up by Redemption, but no! Cream's already got the assassination. He dies in response as Kanavi continues spinning forward, looking for a little bit more. The ricochets from Jackie Love. He needs more, but he can't find it. A double kill to Faker as Owner finishes Jackie, and only 3-6-9 is left. T1 again win the fight with 10 seconds left until the Cloud Soul spawns.
Top Esports threw the Hail Mary, and it was so close to looking good, but intercepted at the last second. And now it's T1 with members on the map that will secure the Cloud Soul, although there's a little bit of a spot here.
Yeah, looks like Hong might have made a mistake, stepping forward to try to help his top laner. Doran brings Hong into the Death Realm instead. You will not be able to catch back up to the Karma to guarantee the kill, but now it's Faker joining up with his top laner for the extra damage into 3-6-9. The Cassante tries to get away, and he outpaces the Claw to do so, but the entire time it was Owner on the Drake. There's your MasterCard priceless moment. 29 minutes into the game, T1 got all 4 Drakes uncontested.
It got a little scary for T1 on the bot side of the map. It felt like that Jackie Love had really woken up in this game, but Kanavi once again isolated. Shockwave!
Shockwave from Faker to burst down the enemy jungler. Kanavi has never found his angles in this game after that first blood. Cream of the Wall wants something. They'll give him a burial. Gumayushi with the kill. 9-3 for T1. Everything Top Esports tried early was completely canceled, and T1 is showing them how to make plays now. 3-6-9, just trying to escape some of the damage. He's the only one alive for a game that had 1 kill at 24 minutes. T1 are about to end it. 30 minutes in. Respawns are not even here. 3-6-9's the only one left, and they want to try to grab the ace on the way out. T1, it was a slow burn, but it's Top Esports being put to the fire. T1 just going to pad the stats and take game 1.
It's a buy one, get 3 free at the end as they marched in 1 by 1, and Top Esports happy to take them to the slaughter.
What a game number 1, from 1 kill to game over in 6 minutes. Analysts, T1's looking fierce.
T1 saying one fight is all.
And survive the backline threat that is heading their way.
And you mentioned Gumayushi's performance on that Kai'Sa. Now correct me if I'm wrong, Bettius, I do believe that was also the game against Hope, where Hope was piloting this very Corki, and there at one point was over a 6,000 individual gold difference between those marksman players.
Absolutely. And we'll see if he can look to have a very similar performance, because for Top Esports, after losing game 1 in very convincing fashion in favor of T1, they're going to have to show us a lot more in game 2 to show us that they can go toe-to-toe with the reigning world champs.
All right, we're on to the Rift for game number 2 in this best of 5. Remember, log into your Riot account right now on LawEsports.com and watch Worlds Live to earn some exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, capsules, all kinds of cool stuff. But for Top Esports, the only thing they want to earn is a tied series. After an underwhelming first game, it's T1 who are feeling in control coming into this second one. Both of our supports this time, no Summoner's Spellbooks. Gentlemen, it's about the lane.
Their goal in game 1 was to put pressure onto Faker, and he survived that pressure very comfortably. This time around, Top Esports, they do have some side lane threat, they have some good collapses, but ultimately, like, I'm curious as to how they're going to navigate their way through the early game, because I think, like, Mid lane is not an easy lane to play for. That Camille is probably your easiest avenue of attack, but you've also drafted yourself a Corki Nami lane that I imagine you want to try and invest some resources into, given that you are running a more of an aggressive bot lane duo. And you can already see Hung and Jackie Love posturing far up in the bottom lane, looking for an early trade.
Yeah, I think the way you want to try and play this bottom lane is to use the slowing ability of the Nami to just make things really uncomfortable for Keria. And if you can end up enabling that to close that gap for the Trundle, Keria's going to have to invest the flash, you have the pillar for after, and that's the way you're going to look to try and chase down this bottom side of the map. If T1 are able to alleviate a lot of that pressure by having Jarvan match or making sure that you're able to keep some of these early summoner spells, which are already double burned on the bottom side, that's where that T1 can try and keep themselves safe.
Heals spent by both supports. The barrier there from Gumayusi. Everybody just wanting to get spicy here at level 1 in the bottom lane. Worth noting, junglers are starting on opposite sides here in this one too.
In game 1, it really was Faker's story as he really just survived the pressure. Jackie Love, though, looking to make game 2 about him. Level 2 spikes up. Forced to use the barrier as the tower shot comes through, though. Gets punished for that aggression.
But he does get the flash out of Keria, and that could be a playmaking opportunity.
But it's playmaking from T1. Owner and Faker already starting to move through. Owner wants to slip in behind. Hasn't gone towards his top side. They should be pinging out the ward. You can see it there going, where the hell's the Jarvan? So top esports, back away in the bottom side. They know something's
They ping
up.
the brush.
Okay, Owner still hanging around for now. Kanavi, though, has secured his red buff. Jarvan does not win against Trundle in those 1v1s, so Owner's going to walk away.
Great understanding from top esports there about the jungle timings from the Jarvan. You can see they had a ward that just died on the Raptors on the top side. Owner never showed, so know that something has to be up. And now it's kind of a reverse of game 1, where it was top esports to go for the invade and start to fall a little bit behind on tempo when it comes to the jungle. And now it's actually Kanavi who has that advantage.
And now this leaves the bot lane very exposed. An opportunity for a gank. Gumayusi has to invest the ward, and it's going to do that just now. Good awareness from T1, investing that early vision to spot out where Kanavi was. Owner will see him earlier on the red buff. And now this bot lane should feel safer with that vision to push out that wave underneath the tower as their jungler is on the top side of the map.
Yeah, there's so much vision on this bottom side. Oh, he flashed over the wall. Kanavi flashed over to avoid the vision and is now going to come in onto the bot lane.
This could be a big payoff for top esports. Gumayusi and Keria packing away, though. So Kanavi, despite trying to get creative there with the angle for the flash, he's spotted.
Yeah, that ward in the river does end up spotting him out. The commitment of the flash ends up not paying off. I think Jackie Love and Hong just gave the play away as they tried to move up, set up for the corresponding gank. Kanavi looking now.
Okay, we'll see if Keria can get away from this one. Remember, the flash already spent earlier, and he is not afraid. Nice tangle barb there into the blooming burst means it's actually Jackie Love that takes the worst of the attempt.
You can see they've already swapped their lanes now as well, but Gumayusi move up to the top side. The interrupt, not quite there. Doran trying to get that ward in the brush to give him that extended hook shot. But now, again, it just already we're seeing how much pressure top esports want to try and put onto this game. They couldn't really find much in the last one, but so many plays already invested into that bot lane.
Baker just trying to hang around here, grab his last little bit of minions. Colossal Smash will pick up that one. As up in the top side, Gumayusi just continues farming on this Kai'Sa. Does have a nice little lead over Jackie Love on the Corki, but there is some extra minions for Jackie to pick up.
Yeah, it should even up as this wave ends up crashing through and top esports end up matching on this top side of the map. But already you can see the game plan from T1 is we want to avoid this matchup. It is so difficult to play against Scream. Gets the lockdown, can have in the area, but they don't want to go for it. Again, like Jackie Love and Hong should be able to punish in this matchup. So as long as Gumayusi and Keria are able to push in a wave and then reset, they should be good. But here we go, top lane again.
Okay, we can see real Gumayusi and fake Gumayusi both hanging around, and there's just the power of this Nico, man. Whether this champion is engaging from stealth for a team fight, whether it's checking vision with the clone, whether it's tanking turrets with the cannon, it provides so much unique utility that no other support does.
I just love that both teams are doing an excellent job of reading their enemy junglers' movements. They're making it very difficult for both Owner and Kanavi to find early ganks. I'm impressed that Owner has actually managed to accrue a CS lead, given that early on, sacking one side of the map really should have cost him a lot, but he's been able to bounce back to great efficiency.
It's because you end up seeing that Kanavi used all that time to gank bot lane, attempted to gank top, whereas bot camps had spawned. So now Kanavi behind 2 camps as he starts to move into this bottom side of the map. But that was a big load of damage on towards Jackie Love on the top side, and that's exactly where Owner is.
Yeah, Owner level 6, Cataclysm at the ready. Gumayusi and Keria are both injured, however. We'll see if they want to keep looking for a little bit more, because Faker is also here with a hero's entrance. The Jarvan Galio Wombo combo could be exactly what T1 wants. There are no teleports ready on the top esports side to try to reinforce this. Hong's going to be in some danger. Hero's entrance is first blood over to Faker, and it's 2-0 T1.
Clean execution from T1 as they shut down the bottom lane. No room for escape whatsoever. Kanavi spotted that entire time on the Dragon, makes the play look smooth as T1 go 2-0 up.
Cream even invested the Realm Warp to try and get up there as well, try and follow Faker, but was just that little bit too far behind. T1 having a masterclass in these early games of tracking the enemy jungler and making sure they just cannot do anything. You can see here, as we get in towards the play, it's very late roam from Cream, and top esports already know they're in trouble, but they try to send anyway. Jackie Love even investing the flash at the end here to try and escape, but there's so much damage in the early stage of the game. The tanking is spectacular, and there's nothing top esports can do to cover.
Very well done by T1 as they take an early lead here in game 2. Top esports, the last hope of the LPL. We're hoping to see more from them in this game, but given the composition that T1 have drafted, I'm still struggling to see that kind of avenue of attack.
Okay.
Especially as we get closer to these big fights that we're expecting. T1's composition all very much wants to do the same thing, and I feel like the top esports are kind of forced to just hit the target that's in front of them, but there will be many targets in front of them, and they will be coming from every which way, especially with a Camille and a Kai'Sa at their back looking to navigate their way through whatever angle they have available to them.
Well, the angle for top esports right now is neutral objectives. They did get the first Drake after the play made from T1 earlier there underneath that tier 1 turret topside. And now, once more, it's going to be top esports claiming all 3 grubs, just like in game number 1. So the kills and the gold may belong to T1, but it's top esports keeping themselves relevant with control over objectives.
Yeah, I mean, T1 just don't have the ultimates they needed. Faker not having his, Owners is just only back off cooldown, and looking at Cream now in the mid lane.
Yeah, Cream gets cataclysmed, forced to flash immediately, does not want to lose any extra health on that one. There's no way you don't die if you stay inside that terrain. So Cream now vulnerable on the rise.
You know, Flowers, as a Skarner main, you're very familiar with junglers expecting attacks as a result of their impact in the game. And in the past, it used to be the QSS tax when playing against Skarner. It's the flash tax when playing against the Jarvan.
That's expensive tax.
Oh, it certainly is, and that's why he is so successful in the latter half of the World Championship. It's so easy for him to walk into a lane, throw that ultimate down as Jackie Love looks for a fight against Faker.
I love that from Jackie. He goes in for the Valkyrie to block the Justice Punch from Faker. Now Faker's trying to get away here on the Galio, shielded Duran for a little bit of extra durability, but no! Jackie Love gets his shot.
Faker wasn't ready, but here we go!
369, public execution, wants the attempt onto Doran, who uses the Hextech ultimatum defensively back against him. Keria comes in for the Pop Blossom, but he only finds Kanavi. Now Owner's showing up, but Cream reinforces here for the Realm Warp. Gumayusi ready to back up his team. Both sides commit a lot, and both sides decide it's not worth anymore.
Signs of life from top esports, and it's Jackie Love that reignites that fire. Skirmish on the bot side ultimately fizzles because top esports realize that they're at a numbers disadvantage. By backing away from the play, they know that Jackie Love can secure some plates on the top side of the map and get some gold back for top esports.
Again, just punishing the fact that Faker had no flash, and this Nami slow is so painful to deal with for anyone that tries to waddle away. So nice job by top esports to find something back, and also to escape on that bottom side, because that looked dicey for a second.
Oh, it absolutely did. Dragon now in 1 minute and 20 seconds. These first items are nearing their completion. I imagine across the board, both sides will reach those spikes ahead of that Dragon spawn. I wonder if top esports will look for a fight, but I mean, it's a bit of a creative way to find a pick because I expected things like the Rise ultimate, as we saw being used towards the bot side of the map. That's the way in which I envision top esports finding picks on the map, creating that sudden numbers advantage that T1 can't necessarily respond to, especially when the Galio is so far away. And this is another thing that T1 have to be mindful of. As long as Faker is sitting on the top side of the map, he can't really impact the bot side with his ultimate. So he does now have the TP available. He can look to join the fray, but 369 really going toe-to-toe with Doran in the 1v1.
With this Dragon now in 35 seconds, I am curious what this potential fight is going to look like as well, because you've got no flash on Keria, which is so crucial for finding these big pop blossoms, but also how much value can 369 get out of this Ambessa? Because in theory, T1 are all jumping in on top of you, so you're not really going to find an isolated target. Even if he ends up jumping on towards Gumayushi just ults to the other side of the fight and keeps himself safe. So I really am curious how top esports are going to get value from this Ambessa throughout these next few engages.
All right, 5 seconds on that Drake. Kanavi takes a little bit of damage, but nothing that he's going to be extremely worried about here on the Trundle. Owner throws the flag into the pit, but now here in the bottom lane, 369 and Doran continue scrapping as we continue to see 369 coming out on top. Trinity Force completed for Jackie Love. Means a massive point of power there for the Corki, but it doesn't look like he's arriving to the Drake here in time just yet. Keria wants to get away. Nice use of the pillar there. Takes Keria low, and now Owner has to flash out. Flash bubble attempt. Not going to get anything back there from Hong. He misses that as Gumayushi now has to flash away too. It's a ton of damage coming in. His Keria is already dead. Jackie Love killed in response. It's Fetal Warfare claimed by T1, but Doran's got to try to continue getting away. 369 looking for an angle, possibly. He goes to the public execution. 369! Damn, that's fine. He finds Gumayushi at the very edge of the fight to make it 3 kills to 3.
Jackie Love drives the fight forward as he flashes into range of T1, but that gave top esports the confidence to chase down the escaping T1 members. 369 finds another kill, equalizes the kill score as T1 walks away with the Dragons.
Sometimes Jackie Love flashing in can be a little spooky, but that was exactly what they needed there. But now 369, flashless, no ultimate, keeping this wave out from the tower.
Yeah, he wants to stop the minions from arriving, but Keria's got the pop blossom, and it's a dog pile top lane. Vengeance for Gumayushi as T1 takes out the Ambessa, but the entire time, Cream getting the opportunity to put these Void Grubs to work in the bottom lane.
They just keep going for these picks, and here, Keria steps too far forward, hoping that he can get that pop blossom, but the follow-up from Hong means that everyone on T1 has to run away. And Jackie Love, knowing that he's got his chance here, flashing forward, hoping to finish off some of these low health bars, not expecting Doran to come in. But this entire time, 369 is trying to walk up from this bottom side of the map, and eventually spots out 369 and manages to, flashes onto Gumayushi and sets up the play.
Beautiful follow-up from 369. The consequence of all of this, though, is that Doran has been left isolated in the top lane. He will secure the first tower, and it looks to be the feats of strength as well for T1.
There it is, yep, exactly right before the Tier 1 turret could have faced its own potential doom on the T1 side. I'm always impressed when a team that loses all 3 Void Grubs still manages to secure the first turret of the game for themselves. This is a 14-minute feats of strength versus the 28 minutes from last game as Owner goes in for the Cataclysm onto Jackie Love. Doran now ready with a Hextech ultimatum, and here's the hero's entrance. Jackie Love first to die as Doran's got to try to find his way back out. Owner jumps in with the EQ combo, but Kanavi's ready to take a bite out of him. The Troll King leads the charge as Doran gets a nice Hextech sweep for a little bit more HP. T1's not done yet as Keria still looking maybe for a root here, but T1 are just going to take their kill, disengage. As now it is the turret dying in the top side on the T1 side, thanks to 369. Faker with the Justice Punch away from the Nami bubble.
They just walk Jackie Love down. They overextend trying to look for the tower, but Doran doesn't end up, or just moves down towards mid. As we get to see here, just Jackie Love, oh my god, that damage on the Gumayushi was insane.
That was crazy. So Jackie Love gets a kill in the mid lane, and then T1 look to punish. And I mean, you're seeing the combo right here. There is no room for remorse as Jackie Love is instantly shut down Top Esports tried to get something back, but there's little available for them. We have to go back to live because the Herald is going to be secured, and the pace of this game is very different from game one.
Yeah, I think T1 actually sticking around there, getting that poke from Cream, actually removed a lot of their pressure over towards the Rift Tower. I thought it'd be pick in to move towards that objective, but instead, Top Esports managing to pick that one up. And as you say, Betty, this game much quicker. This tower in the mid is going to fall.
Here we go, Rift Herald sum it up. It's Jackie Love ready to drive it straight into the tier 1 turret. Honestly, they don't even really need it, but it will still lose most of the HP. Shouldn't be able to get a second charge. No, it will not. In a game number 1, where Top Esports secured 3 grubs into every single other neutral objective going T1's way, almost entirely uncontested, it's Top Esports that are now tied in Drakes here in the second game, but have secured the Herald. They've secured the grubs. They seem to be much more eager to fight with T1 in this game.
T1's composition very much operates similarly to a shotgun, right? It's got a lot of power on that initial pull of the trigger, but the longer the fight goes, the more the threat starts to fall off. Now, of course, Camille in the late game, once she gets closer to those like 3 completed items, she's always going to be that late game threat. But in these 2-item mark, I do feel that if Top Esports can survive that initial burst in the extended trade, there are definitely ways for them to turn the fights in their favor.
And you talk about the 2-item spike, Vedius, and items that have to stack in League of Legends are naturally going to have a pretty high power point once they're fully stacked, and you've got Ryze and Corki on the side of Top Esports, stacking towards a Seraph's next, stacking towards that Muramana with the Manamune already fully completed there for Jackie Love. As the 3rd Drake of the game has spawned, it is an Ocean. We're on Ocean Rift this time, but a TP is coming in from T1. Top Esports committing to the objective. Gumayushi's on the flank, but he's got to be a little bit careful. 369 wants to mark him. Carrier goes in with a bad pop blossom, but Jackie Love is already down. Top Esports have lost their marksman. Doran, he's the only one low, but it won't matter. Realm Warp, it gets Top Esports away to safety. Gumayushi still after Hong, so it's objective over to T1. They steal the Drake, they take the kill, they blast Jackie Love.
Jackie Love doesn't get to play the game. Everyone is focusing down every single time. And once that's done, Top Esports have to run for the hills. There's nowhere safe for them.
Betty, as you said, this comp works like a shotgun, and Jackie Love didn't even get to hear him rack the shell. That was just instant deletion at the start of the fight, and Top Esports had to scatter.
And hopefully we get the replay, because you'll see how difficult it is for Jackie. Keep your eyes on the Corki. In the midst of all of that, he's being attacked from 3 angles. Doran on the left, Carry on the right, and Gumayushi from behind. 3 angles of attack. This AD carry is given no opportunity to get away to safety.
And this feels like a classic T1 fight where they surround you on all sides and they just slowly encroach and make your life miserable. T1, a well-oiled machine on that play, and once again, we started to see light from Top Esports, but it's T1 who are starting to pull away with the game.
How do you stay behind your front line when the battle lines are every single direction around you? Jackie Love focused down, that Corki that we were talking about being scary with the Trinity Force, stacking towards the Muramana. It doesn't matter how farmed you are if you're dead at the very start of the fight. T1 now with the lead in. Drake's here too. 45 seconds until Otacon spawns. This time around, he's down here on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and also in the rest of these fights, there is a thought process of, well, you know, Jackie Love can die because we have other carries, right? Trundle can deal some damage and Bess is strong, Ryze is strong. But realistically, when you're playing so many short-range carries into things like Faker's Taunt, into Carrier, into Owner as well, it becomes so difficult to really get value from them. Now Top Esports looking to overload the bot lane to make something happen for them.
Oh yeah, there's no way for T1 to try to defend this one. 3 grubs and 4 players from top is more than enough to knock down the last 25% of that tower's health. So that means our gold is once again back to dead even. 20 minutes on the clock, and Otacon makes his way onto the rift with Top Esports having control over the bot side river.
And Faker's going to go back to base. He has the TP available. Top Esports going to force the issue. Ona has a flank angle from behind. 369 trying to mark him.
Yeah, Owner is wrapped all the way around on top of a control ward, so he knows he's not seen here. Still trying to be careful about this. Is Keria and Doran also approaching towards this Otacon that is starting to lose some patience, down to about 2/3 HP. Cream back over in the mid lane. Top Esports backing away. Remember, they still have their tier 1 turret down here in the bottom lane, and it still has a lot of health.
Top Esports knows something is up. They cannot find owner, and they know that's an issue, but it's misses on the ult.
They wanted the public execution. They can't get Gumayushi. 3-man pop blossom from Keria, and Jackie Love's dead again. This time, his friends might just go with him. Gumayushi needs a little bit more as Kanavi chases forward onto Doran. The Trundle needs the kill, but he dies to the Cataclysm. Cream locked up by Faker. It's a justice punch to the jaw, and Gumayushi knocks him out. Triple kill for the Kaisa as Hong's a fish out of water, and T1 get an ace for 2.
Top Esports try desperately to catch anyone on the side of T1, but once that misses, the Keria finds the play. The ulti connects onto 3, but their target is Jackie Love. He trades his life to take out the AD carry, and then it's cleanup for T1.
It does not feel like LPL's day. It doesn't really feel like their decade, to be perfectly honest. And it looks like Faker, as he continues to make plays with T1, they want to march towards another World Finals for themselves.
Just cool and collected backstage as well. It's business as usual for T1, up 3,000 gold, 25 petals. They've got the feats of warfare, they've got the Otacon, and the gold difference is just the blood of Top Esports being poured off the side of the graph.
Doran has found Cream.
Wants to go after this Rise. TP coming in from the side of Top Esports. T1 ready to respond with one of their own. Doran down to half HP. Owner wants a little bit more. The teleport is a little bit late to arrive from Faker, but it's still just in time. T1 send more men, and they get the double kill because of it.
They can run, they can hide, but Top Esports cannot escape the nightmare that is T1. It was a 2 versus 1 that turned into a 4 versus 2 as Faker Zhonya's.
Faker walks right towards the brush, but he's got the reaction time. Top Esports wanted to find their moment. Keria is wrapping around from the side. He wants to cut off the escape. Pop Blossom on 2. Doran chasing after Hong as Jackie Love is dead again. And Doran cuts the enemy support down. Only Kanavi is alive to tell the tale, and T1's got a 5,000 gold lead.
Images of 2023 and Faker on this Galio must be in the heads of 369 and Kanavi, because they attack the side lane, they get caught. They attack the jungle, they get caught. And T1 look like they're about to take over once again.
Faker face checks, but the reaction speed, I mean, is still exquisite. Keria leveraging the clones as he often does, drawing that focus, allowing him to find an angle that Top Esports do not expect. Jackie Love, similar to what we've seen in this entire game, is locked down and shut out, and T1 are looking to go match point in this best of 5.
It has been complete domination from T1. Anyone's Legend pushed them to the brink, but Top Esports have yet to find any purchase in this series. And the question starts to become, well, what do you do? It has been comfort across the board for Top Esports in their drafts in Game 1 and Game 2, but it's T1 who have slowed the pace of the game down, played for the objectives, found moments to turn around the picks Top Esports try to make happen, and it just looks like there's nothing there for them.
And I'm glad you mentioned Anyone's Legend, Dagda, because Vedius, you mentioned back at the draft when we saw the Kaisa locked in. Never mind, we don't have time. Jackie Love going after Gumayushi, who sidesteps the public execution and kills Jackie anyway. 369 wants the damage, and Guma's finally going to be shut down. But Top Esports lose their top laner. Now Owner's putting the pressure under Cream and Hong, making more space as Faker lets blow the winds of war, and they will blow down Top Esports. Nobody's left alive. They might have got Gumayushi, but it cost them everything.
That killer instinct from Gumayushi was insane. He uses the Kaisa ult to dodge the Ambessa and find the fight that will net T1 the Baron.
Simply magnificent team fighting from T1. We look back at the play, Guma becomes the target. The ulti response from Guma to sidestep the public execution. Fantastic mechanics as Guma lives to the very end to dish out as much damage as possible to help T1 win the fight.
Yeah, the question marks on Gumayushi's Kaisa kind of need to go to the wayside. This man is performing like an absolute hero for T1 in this.
And before the fight started, that's what I wanted to say. In the series against Anyone's Legend, his Kaisa had a 6,000 individual gold lead and just did circles around Hope's Corki. This time around, Jackie might have been off to a decent start, but T1 has shot that chopper down every single team fight, and it's Gumayushi again with an over 3,000 gold lead, 3 fully completed items, Seeker's arm guard unbroken. Jackie Love jumping forward, Keria has to flash away to keep himself alive, so at least that's one less playmaking tool for T1, but they're wearing purple with a 9,000 gold lead and Soul Point.
I love that Jackie Love, even though he's got a 275 scoreline, he's 3 levels behind Gumayushi, still does not hesitate to press W towards T1. He knows that they will not turn this game around idly by.
Owner over the wall, immediately goes into the Cataclysm. Jackie Love under pressure as Gumayushi pops the Seeker, staying alive for now, needs a little bit more damage. Keria swoops in behind him. Gumayushi's still alive. Top Esports is not. It's T1 with a full send.
T1 crashes down on Top Esports, and it will be the base that will be next to fall.
Game number 2 will end even more quickly than game number 1. They average nearly 1 kill per minute in this second matchup as 369 will get one back at the very, very end, but he dies on the steps to his own base. T1, match point.
Simply exceptional performance from T1. Let's get the breakdown from the analysts.
The breakdown is that it wasn't enough seemingly for Faker and T1 to have that record over the LPL. They also want to get the fastest records over beating the LPL at Worlds, because this is an unbelievable shellacking from the man you see walking behind us right now and his team, Emily.
Yeah, I mean, objective setup, and I think that that really has been the area that T1 has gotten the better of Top Esports in this series.
It's not going to be an easy task for Top Esports as we get onto the Rift for game number 3. History is not in their favor. This series has not been in their favor. But they'll have to dig deep if they hope to take down the Korean powerhouse.
The last remaining Chinese team here in Shanghai trying to hold on against the back-to-back world champs as we make our way onto the Rift for game 3.
So immediately I want to draw your attention towards the mini-map. As you'll see on the bot side of the Rift, both top laners investing their early wards to help get that control over the early brush, along with a vision invested from Cream towards the mid lane to protect that bottom side jungle, as Kanavi is looking to start on the top side and path towards bot. Very much what we expect. Are they gonna... Oh, okay, so they're just gonna clear out the ward for now. But it does mean the reason why you'll see top laners do this specifically is they're like, oh, we don't care if you gank us. It's really not that big of a deal. So instead, save your ward in the bottom lane. Save it for when the junglers are likely going to be ganking you around that 4-minute mark so that you can be prepared and read the play.
Makes it so you're able to poke them down very effectively in the early stages. And if Jackie Love and Hung can't get aggressive in this bottom lane, it is going to be very difficult. And traditionally, that's where I'd look towards the jungle and be like, okay, well, you want to have something that can, you know, facilitate these plays, try and be that spearhead into the bottom lane to enable Jackie Love to follow up. But Kiana is very good at dealing damage, but is not great at setting up. So a huge amount now rests on the head of Hung to see if he can find these crucial hooks when Kanavi makes his way down to the bottom lane.
Earlier I mentioned that I expected Kanavi to start on the top side of the jungle. However, he's actually transitioned over towards bot. We just saw Jackie Love helping him take out that red buff so that he doesn't have to go for an early base is very much what I expect, meaning that he's pathing towards the top side of the map unless he's got some creative early pathing plan. We'll keep track of him here as he secures his Raptors.
I think Kanavi just needs to try and avoid Owner. This is what we saw in the Anyone's Legend game where Owner just end up syncing up with Tarzan and making it really difficult for the Kiana to actually be effective in any of these lanes because the Pantheon is so strong in these early ganks. So if Top Esports are able to desync Kanavi, maybe there is a chance where he can actually get access to the bottom lane when T1 are not on that side of the map.
And you can see in the first couple of games, Owner's performance versus Kanavi, just a much better showing so far from the T1 jungler. A part of more than 80% of the overall kills scored by the team, has been doing exactly the job that they need him to do, and has been controlling those early games as well. Plus 200 gold at 14 minutes just shows he's getting that value early and keeping it.
Oh, he absolutely was, and he really has been the heart of T1 throughout this year. That's why at this World Championship, so much praise has been recognized and given to so many of the other members because of how much they've stepped up. But so much of this year's accomplishments by T1 have largely been driven by Owner, who so far in this series has been spectacular.
Doran now could be the target, knocked up into the air by 369 Kanavi. He has the river to try to lock him down. Decimating smash won't matter. It's first blood to Kanavi and Top Esports.
Great patience from Kanavi, waiting for the flash from Doran before he committed the root, allowing him to then get the additional W into Q. As Cream getting very dangerously low, but he'll back away.
Navi even flashing the JDG logo, remembering his roots, but we'll have to see now. Faker might be in trouble.
Yeah, Faker, no mana to work with, only 400 HP. Kanavi still has Flash, but Faker has Owner. So that means the Top Esports have no play to make.
And this is what I was talking about. If Kanavi ever runs into Owner, it's a difficult time because that burst damage from the Pantheon plus the tankiness makes it very difficult for Kanavi in the 1v1 and 2v2s. But still, nice gank in towards the top side. Means that Kanavi going to be able to pick up a serrated Dirk and be in a very good spot as he continues out onto the map.
Kanavi going to interrupt the back from Owner.
Yeah, Owner losing half HP there. Solar Snare does not hit the Kiana. Owner has to throw up the shield, get a little bit of extra distance and walk away from this one. Meanwhile, bottom side, Jackie and Hong going to be forced back underneath that tier 1 turret. Keria and Gumayushi having a fine time against this Draven bottom lane.
So you asked Flowers, what is it that we want to see from Top Esports? And for me, it was very much about Kanavi being proactive on the map. And the fact that he's already secured first blood is a great start, but I want to see him translate that pressure towards that bottom side of the map. Draven as a champion needs to be accelerated, simply tied to his passive. He is relatively short range later into the game. In those hyper late games, he becomes very difficult to execute as the late game threats increase. The mid game is where he spikes, and you want to support that passive to allow him to spike effectively.
I don't think Top Esports are in a position to help Jackie Love at the moment, though. You can look at the reset coming through from Kanavi. He just cleared out his bottom side jungle before going for the reset, which means he can't actually get involved in the bottom lane. And now he's going to be moving back up towards this top side of the map as well. So across the board, it means that Top Esports going to be putting a little bit more pressure on the top side. Now, it does mean 369 going to be able to punish Dorn in the position that he's in. But unless you can get another kill for this Kiana on the top side, it means that Jackie Love is just going to continue to struggle in this bot lane.
Okay, another nice route there with the Solar Snare for Faker. Sets up so well to combine with the Radiant Volley to hit just all of those projectiles immediately there for the follow-up. Faker is playing on a very low amount of health, but Cream doesn't really have the mana to try to punish him. Faker needs to flash away there as Cream goes between worlds, hits level 6, wants to immediately drop that ulti to get the flash out of Faker. Now up in the top side, Ornhorn coming in. Doran's gonna get dove, he tries to pop the shield. He'll die, but 369 will fall too. It's a 1-for-1 here in the top lane.
369's life for Kanavi, making sure this Kiana can continue to get the kills. And this was the trade-off that we were talking about. Top Esports needed to invest time on the top half for Kanavi, and they do get the kill.
I mean, normally we see players not really invested into trying to camp Sion, but the fact that Kanavi is the one picking up all these kills, he's built up a very healthy lead, and the beauty of this wave is it's now pushing towards 369, so it doesn't matter that he doesn't have his TP available, but it also especially doesn't matter because he's pathing towards the bot side of the map. The Draven going to be the one to send up towards top, secure that wave, and also be in a position to contest the grub spawning in a minute and a bit.
We'll also give Kanavi the level 6 nice and early here as he starts to match Owner already hitting his. He'll be able to move up towards the top half, look towards this big ultimate for the available fights, and Cream has already burned Faker's flash. Now, Faker does have that reflect, you always got to bear that in mind, but if Kanavi can find Faker in these fights, there is enough burst damage to set up alongside Jackie Love to very quickly erase a T1 member off the map.
I mean, we don't see a lot of Mel in professional play, but Rebuttal is on the same level as something like a Yasuo Windwall with just how team fight warping it can be with the proper timing. Keria going to go ahead and clear out the vision from Top Esports in this Drake pit. Doesn't look like anybody's really concerned with trying to go after that objective here in the immediate future, considering those grubs are only 30 seconds away. 369 down here in the bottom lane. Does still have a little bit of a timer left on the cooldown there for the Unleashed teleport. Same story can be told for Doran, who is still up in the top lane near that grub pit. But I would think that 369 should have the summoner ready to go to join the grub fight if that's what Top Esports wants. Remember, they've claimed all 3 grubs in the first 2 games so far.
Jackie Love ticks over to level 6. Gumayushi been sitting on that for a little while, of course. The Ash Arrow will be something I'll be keeping my eyes on, especially if you use it in conjunction with Ona's ultimate. Yet to see Ona have much impact in this early game, but with the level 6 himself and the Dragon being started off, this will be the first objective of the game, and T1 is looking to secure it.
Yeah, just the trade with Top Esports being in a better position on the top side of the map. T1 happy to look for this, and they should be able to continue what has been basically the Dragon stacking for them all series long, and enabling the ability to try and play for these team fights later as the game goes on.
All right, 369. Just going to try to keep Gumayushi away as much as he can. Meanwhile, topside, Kanavi looking for maybe another opportunity. No, goes ahead and takes the recall as Hong and Jackie Love are going after Doran. The Scion is the focus here in this game. They knock him low.
175 stacks on Jackie Love. That ultimate continues to get stronger as the stacks continue to grow. For now, though, his priority is on getting that farm, Keria in a position to provide that cover. Junglers just continuing to clear through the camps, but Doran needs to be careful because he doesn't know this, but Kanavi is on the top side of the map and could pay that Scion a visit.
Keria looking to try and cover though, and this has kind of been the job that Keria has been up to all of this early game, has been making sure he can be in positions where Top Esports are trying to make plays. But he's going to look for the reset, and the wave is starting to push out. 369, a little bit of trouble on the bot side.
Yeah, Gumayushi making sure he takes this trade as long as he can take it, since there's nothing 369 can do in retaliation. Cream wants Faker. Kanavi goes in. Kanavi takes a lot of damage from the turret, but he gets his man. Now Owner tries to get the follow-up kill, and he flashes for the point-blank Q, so that Kanavi cannot escape. It's a 1-for-1, but it's 3-2 for Top Esports. They'll claim the Fetal Warfare.
Owner with the cover, make sure that he's able to get one back, but still, it's Kanavi who is constantly looking for these dives. He is so much more active in this game.
Kanavi making his presence felt. Hong vicious for a hook onto Hona. Very dangerous fight to take, especially given the health discrepancy that we're seeing from Cream right now. Kanavi is snowballing so quickly though. Already he has completed the Profane Hydra, and this Kiana is getting accelerated. It's what we wanted to see. Top Esports, they need to keep this momentum going if they want to start the reverse sweep.
Kanavi and Tarzan being those 2 big LPL junglers throughout all of 2025. Kanavi now on this Kiana that he's 5-1 now, I believe, with in professional play this year. So now we'll see, with all the money, with the carry opportunity in his pocket, can he be the one to keep this series alive for Top Esports, who are now again looking for a dive, this time onto Gumayushi. Hong wants to try to get away from the turret, but it's a 1-for-1. Guma does enough damage to make it an even trade.
But Top Esports are continuously happy to make these plays work. They're getting the kills for Kanavi, but they're crucially getting the kill on the laner, which means you're not getting that same experience level on towards the individuals on T1.
And it's critically not on the Draven. Jackie Love doesn't get the chance to cash in on all those stacks. 240 nearly now for this Draven. Really would like to get paid and cash out on some of those.
Hey, I mean, there are small optimizations, but Top Esports is definitely making stuff happen, which is more than can be said from what we've seen from them so far in this series. Top Esports want to keep this momentum going. Kanavi hovering around the middle lane. Ona has been continuing to farm through his jungle. He's got a sizable CS advantage, a bit of an XP lead over Kanavi. And the gold overall largely remains even because Gumayushi on the side lane has been farming up those plates along with a bit of a CS lead of his own that Jackie Love has finally been able to close.
Kanavi already an item and a half in though before a lot of people have completed their first. This Kian is incredibly strong, but it is going to be a case of trying to find value in these fights. Has to work around Keria's ultimate, work around the rebuttal on Faker. But as long as you can do that, I think you're in a decent spot here as top esports to play around your jungler. And oftentimes when we've seen Kanavi in these sort of do-or-die situations, he's taken that mantle on. Like, you cast your eyes back to the Belveth that he played for JDG in 2023, saying, I will be the carry, I can do it. Wasn't successful then, but now with the tournament life on the line, he wants once more to be the carry for his team.
He's looking for Faker yet again. Has the grass enchantment for the invisibility, but he's not going to find the angle. Doesn't have the range. Solar Snare also not quite the range to catch up to Kanavi there, as Owner is waiting in the jungle. But if you're top esports, if you're Kanavi, you have to know that the bottom lane priority has belonged to T1, so that bottom half of the jungle is not safe.
Good read.
Absolutely. Very, very good reads. Kanavi will get a few little scraps of the Raptor camp.
Chicken nuggets.
20 seconds now until the dragon spawns. Bases are going to quickly come through from T1. No TP available for Faker, as Cream is already back out onto the map. No completed item for him, whereas we see the Blackfire Torch now finished for Faker. Top Esports, will they feel confident enough to go for this early fight? As Top Esports is setting up around the dragon.
All right, Top Esports, there's 30 seconds left on the clock until the turret plates fall. So if you're T1 and you want to try to grab one of those instead of go for the Drake, well, the problem is you're not getting a whole lot of a great chance to do it. 369 still holding the fort up there in the top lane. Now for T1, you do have teleport available on Doran, but there's no teleport for 369.
I think they're looking for a pick on the bottom side with Top Esports. The Between Worlds available for Cream, but Gumayushi spots out Kanavi. I will manage to step away, but Top Esports invested a lot in shifting down towards this bottom side, which means that T1 get to move in towards River first.
And critically, 369's teleport now is available yet again. So Top Esports, they're going to try to commit everybody to this. Doran has already teleported into the area first, but Ornn's about to arrive into the mid lane. T1 get engaged on. Hong's ready to go in, but the hostile takeover over the top tries to keep him alive. Keria staying up here for a little bit longer. Keria and Faker are both very low. Faker survives. Jackie Love under pressure. Gumayushi wins the AD carry battle, and Top Esports have already lost 3 men. It's about to be 4. Keria may have died, Faker may have died, but Top Esports are going to lose everyone. Owner and Doran bury the last one. It's an ace for T1.
Kanavi got one shot at the start of this fight. Look into the pit as Kanavi goes over the wall. Owner says, not a hope in hell, buddy. Doran and Owner shut him down. And on the top side, as Top Esports try to make that fight, Jackie Love gets focused down by Gumayushi and cannot make the difference.
I mean, Keria had a fantastic Renata ultimate on the top side of the fight because it looked like Hong had connected absolutely everything. But once that Renata came down, they lost everything.
We're not done, though. It's a pick coming in for Top Esports. They find Keria in the enemy jungler. They catch T1 unaware. Now Faker with a rebuttal. Hong still manages to close the distance here with the dread line, but Owner's ready to show up and offer a little bit of assistance. Cream in some danger now. There's the execution. There's the damage. There's T1. Owner and Faker get one back as Top Esports are still on the retreat. Hong now stunned up by the Pantheon. A little bit more damage from a point-blank Comet Spear, and Owner's unstoppable. Top Esports take the Herald in the meantime, but it's more kills over to T1.
Top Esports looked unsure about what they wanted to achieve. Kanavi was sticking in the pit, whereas the rest of Jackie Love and the rest were trying to move in towards that topside jungle to find the plays.
Owner in the enemy jungle, stacking up his Comet Spears, was waiting to see if Kanavi would just greedily jump over the wall and try to start the blue buff. Kanavi finds him there, as now Doran coming in. Big collision on Jackie Love, and Gumayushi picks up the free payday.
No flash on the Draven means that T1 can simply run him down.
Oh no, Kanavi! What was that? He jumps into the middle of everybody, and the Comet Spear to execute him. The pressure of elimination in the semifinals is crushing Kanavi as Owner tanks up 369 for the time being. Hong with the pressure onto Guma. Cream goes between worlds, tries to jump in. Gumayushi about to die. The bailout will not save him. Top Esports, they need more now. Cream wants to get out, but the Solar Snare locks him up. Faker gets the return kill as Faker and Keria duel with Hong and 369. A triple to the Ornn, as that will be the execution through the Golden Eclipse for Faker to take out out Hong.
Blood has made its way to the Rift as both teams have taken the gloves off. Top Esports don't want to walk away with nothing, so they bring the fight to T1. It ends up, considering the gold deficit, quite good for them, finding a couple of kills. The problem is it's the Ornn getting the shutdowns. 1,000 gold secured by 369 after he takes out Ona, but the ulti back in from Ona, who's been having a fantastic game 3. 6-1-1 the scoreline. Let's look back as this is started by Kanavi getting caught.
This started horribly because they've just lost Jackie Love in the back, Owner with the snipe, and then T1 think maybe, hang on, we don't want to be around here as Top Esports look to collapse. 369 gets a good Ornn ultimate to set up for Hong and Cream to go for the in-between worlds. But as you call it, Betty, it's all this extra gold going on towards the burn from 369, taking that one. Cream then gets focused down as Faker comes in through that bottom side, and it's just 369 getting so much of this gold.
The TP in from Faker towards the Raptor pit. He pushed out that top wave. He arrived behind and provided the much needed damage to help get a few kills back for T1, but we return to the Rift as they push on the top side.
Kanavi goes in, but his ultimate doesn't get a lot. Owner with the shield ready to continue the counterattack as Hong will be first to die. Faker takes the kill, and 369's their next target. Solar Snare won't hit him. Ornhorn maybe for the counterattack. 4-man knockup from 369, but it is not enough. T1 still over 2,000 gold ahead. Whirling Death will not find a snipe.
It feels like Top Esports is getting desperate. They force a 4 versus 5. Cream is in the bottom lane with no TP available. That pressure is now even going to be matched by Doran. It won't convert into major objectives, but T1 find themselves more kills.
Yeah, and it feels like desperation for Top Esports because that's exactly what it is. T1 have run this region for such an incredibly long time, and it feels like it's just going to be another notch in Faker's bedpost as they start to move forward.
And we can see the engage comes through. The combination between 369 and Kanavi takes off half of Ona's HP, but that's all it does. Gumayushi and Faker are completely safe. They know they have the numbers advantage. Jackie Love is afraid to approach with the collapsing Scion, and it converts into 2 kills for T1.
There's just no damage there every single time. Like, great knockup from 369, but we're back to it again.
We might be fighting once more. Rift Herald summing up mid lane here from Top Esports. But T1 are looking to knock the thing down before it ever even gets to charge. Plus 25 gold, might as well have been a melee minion. T1 hold the line there, and now the next Drake has spawned. Whoever secures this objective will secure the feats of strength. T1 first to the area, control over the bot side river, trying to defend their control ward. Jackie Love has the axes spinning, ready to step up, try to clear the vision. Cream pincering around, looking to try to cut off T1, coming behind them. Top Esports backing away now on the main front. Cream shows himself, ready to try to enter into the fight now, but a lot of lockdown. Nobody finds the first kill. Kanavi is dead. Cream's next to follow. Top Esports jungler is caught again, and now everyone else has to run. Jackie Love with the flash over the wall just to try to survive. Hong is running. T1, they want more kills. 369 and Jackie get enough distance to get away, but T1 have claimed the feats, claimed the Drake, claimed the tier 1 turret. Otacon's live on the map, and T1's got a 4,000 gold lead at Soul Point.
Renata stocks are going to be at all-time high after this game. Keria with another fantastic ult as they just see Cream go invisible, thinking that might be the engage, but immediately Keria responds, and T1 are able to chase down the back line as there's nothing Top Esports can do.
It's so difficult for Jackie Love to do anything in these fights. He was just pushed back by Doran. He was tickling this Scion as the rest of T1 handled the flank from Cream, shut down Kanavi, and won in a landslide victory. They find themselves at Soul Point. They're looking to go 3-0 in this series. 369 will flash away. T1 are in the heads of Top Esports.
Top Esports look completely frazzled right now, 20 minutes in to this third and potentially final game in this series, potentially the last game they will play at Worlds 2025. They have not made it to the semifinals since 2020. It's been 5 years for Top Esports getting back to this point. They've never made it to the finals, and T1 wants to keep it that way. Faker's the target for Top as he tries to get the route to buy himself a little bit more time, but Faker is shut down. Cream's the target now for T1. Flashes over the wall, but Owner's ready to flash follow. Cream dies, mid for mid. Gumayushi with a flash forward, and he's putting arrows into Jackie Love's back. Jackie gets away with a Kimtech blast cone, but the rest of the arrows continue to focus fire. One more volley takes him out, and Gumayushi gets it done.
T1 will not let Top Esports rest. It has been so many years that they've continued to find picks and plays.
And Kanavi again just picking the wrong moments. He goes in, he survives for now, but it costs Hong's life this time instead. T1, 4,000 gold lead still, soul point still. And look at the mini map. It looks like a Christmas tree of red pings. Everybody's calling for Otacon.
Owner adds another notch to the spear as he goes to 9, 1, and 3 here at the 2025 semifinals. What a monstrous series it has been from him, as the early game was going the way of Kanavi, but the rest of it has gone the way of Owner.
12 years T1 have beaten the LPL in best of fives at Worlds. 5 years Top Esports not making it to finals. 3 last years it has been T1 that have taken down 369, and it looks like that reign will continue.
And this pick onto Faker looks like the start of something. But the collapse from T1 is just so fast. Owner and Doran are there to shut down Cream. Jackie Love and 369 trying to regroup, but they then become the targets of the hunt. The slows from Gumayushi set up for the chase onto Jackie Love as he desperately tries to escape. It is not enough, as the single kill onto Faker costs them 2 on the escape.
The clock ticks ever forward against Top Esports. T1, it's 75 seconds until the Kimtech Soul spawns. Kanavi on the flank. He's got to find some sort of a major redemption play. He finds a route onto Carrier and nothing more. Now he's marked. Kanavi trying to do something on the side, but it's Hong here on the front line that's taking most of the burst. Owner still in the middle of everybody. The redemption coming in to save him, and the bailout does just that. Cream at least gets one. Hong at 200. Jackie Love trying to fight, but the decimating smash guarantees that he can't. Gumayushi knocked down as we've got a 3-for-2 favoring T1. Faker's not even been in the fight though, and Mel is ready to make her arrival. Cream, the only damage really left for the side of Top Esports. Faker pops the rebuttal, and Carrie is still alive. Solar Snare locks up the Ornn, and 369. The countdown's about to hit 0. They're just waiting, trying to stall this out as long as they can. Make sure that he's not alive at all for the Dragon Soul. They'll kill the Ornn, and it's another team fight for T1.
It's simply a brawl in the mid lane. Fists go flying as Hong looks for a hook. Carrier being zoned off on the side. Owner tanks it initially, but he has the bailout to bring him back into the action. The ulti from Kanavi really doesn't convert into much. He ends up falling first, and as the rest of Top Esports try to keep the fight going, Gumayushi does everything he can to take out Jackie Love.
And it was a success. The 80 carries managing to battle it out and take them down. But now you can see 369 just perplexed. He is trying desperately on this Ornn to find some way to structure the fights, but T1 are not letting them find their footing. And now Jackie Love up in topside, threatening a Baron, but I think T1 happy to take that fight if it comes to us.
T1 pushing their way into the topside river. Dagda, you mentioned early that lifetime record of T1 against the LPL at Worlds. Jackie Love forced to flash over the wall. Doran flashing after. Here comes the Comet Spear ready to fly over the top of the decimating smash, but Redemption keeps Jackie alive. Maybe the kill from Kanavi, but no. At least Faker should die here through the bailout, so Cream's gonna get the credit on that one. But T1 aren't done. Cream goes between worlds. 369 with a 2-man knockup. Top Esports, they found Gumayushi, but they have to trade Cream. Jackie's still alive for a little bit more damage. damage as Keria, Owner, and Doran want some more. Hong gets almost caught by the hostile takeover, but it's 369 focused instead. T1, their carries might be down, but they still find another kill. Doran goes on a rampage, and the 3 remaining men on T1 knock down the tier 2.
369 survives for so long, but it's only so he can shed more tears as T1 continue to buckle the knees of Top Esports. There is little that they can do in this scenario. They just don't have enough damage.
I mean, Top Esports are coming very close in a number of these fights, but as you said, Dagda, they're just a little too behind in the gold. Very forced play comes through from T1. A nice execution onto Faker, ends up being traded with Kanavi. Meanwhile, underneath the tower here, you've got Doran and Ona tanking so many tower shots. Cream with a good ulti, 369 with a good ulti of his own, but then Cream closes the gap too much. The target focus from T1 allows them to get the kill onto Cream, and then it's just a retreat from the side of Top Esports.
Once again, T1 taking control over the topside river. They will immediately start up the Baron. They eliminated IG in the only play-ins game at Worlds 2025. They eliminated AL in the quarters. They're about to eliminate Top Esports here in the semifinals. Kanavi takes the arrow, and there's no way he's getting away from that one. The Baron secured by T1. There's no neutral objectives to care about on the map right now, and there's 35 seconds until the enemy jungler is back alive.
T1 and eliminations at Worlds are just a different beast altogether, and Top Esports are all too familiar with it. Quarterfinals, semifinals, it does not matter. T1 only see victory.
T1 with the Baron pushing into the enemy base now. Doran happy to tank the turret. T1 continuing their push straight through that mid lane inhibitor. Sidewaves not really set up for a successful multi-lane push. So T1's just gonna keep going straight for the Nexus. Here comes the Grand Starfall, and Jackie's already down. Hong goes with them. The focus fire into 369 as Cream and Kanavi scramble to stay alive, but nobody on Top Esports has anything to stop T1. It's only the mid laner left. They'll get the final kill. And yet again, the highest peaks of the LPL are merely stepping stones for the unkillable Demon King. Faker and T1 have set the stage for the World Finals Telecom War.
At the World Championship, it is T1 that define excellence. As for the 4th time in a row, they will return to the World Final.
8 out of the 10 times Faker has made it to Worlds, he has now made it to Finals. An 80% appearance rate is absurd at this level of competition, but he continues to show up year after year after year.
Incredible showing from T1 heading to the finals yet again. And now it's time for us to go ahead and toss this one back to our analysts.
And it ends not in a bang, but in a whimper for the last representative of the LPL in their own house in Shanghai as they once again walk into the wall that is